my come to Jesus moment, but it's like, This Changes Everything is a very good book, and there's a passage in there where Naomi Klein says something like, the environmental movement became somehow about individual actions, like we're supposed to drive less and we're supposed to not use plastic things, and it's like, why are we expected to make these sacrifices if the people who pollute, like power plants, are allowed to do that as much as they want? Like, that's unfair, and we feel that it's unfair, and I think a lot of people check out, and a lot of people know bullshit when they hear it. So basically what we need is plummeting fossil fuel emissions and a switch to renewable energy as fast as humanly possible, probably faster than we've made any technological leap before. And I believe that if we know this to be true, then we have a moral imperative to act on it. That's what I believe in my heart. This is a quote from Pope Francis, accepting the urgency. It seems clear to me that climate change is the problem that should no longer be left to a future generation. And I read this stuff as somebody who is a scientist who knows how to read a graph and knows about, consequences. So one thing that I've learned in all my research on this is that the barriers to clean energy are mostly political, not technological. We have solar, we have wind, we need to make some improvements in battery life, energy transport and storage, but on the whole, it's just inertia and vested interest. The good news is the world is transitioning to green energy, but we need to just move faster, and we need a new cultural norm, and that's the thing I want to push on, right? That's the thing I'm thinking about. How can I push on that? I've been very encouraged by things like the Divest movement. The Divest Reinvest is what it's sometimes called. Basically, it started from students all over the world. It started to say to the universities, your pension funds, everything is invested in things like coal and oil, and that's not fair because you're supposed to be preparing us for our future, and how can you say that if you're helping to make the worst future happen? So the investment started with schools, and it's just such a simple idea that it got pushed all over the world in just a matter of months. It started in earnest in about 2013, and now you'll see keep it in the ground, right? That's saying the fossil fuel, the coal and the oil, just leave it in the ground. Don't burn it where it can't, leave it there where it can't hurt us. And even Stanford has divested from coal as a result of that, which I was pretty heartened to hear. So it's catching on, and the idea with divestment was to change the cultural norm. It wasn't to bankrupt the fossil fuel companies, it was to phrase this in terms of the moral issue. It's almost like the pressure that got put on tobacco companies in the 80s and 90s saying, you're killing people. You need to be subject to the same rules as the rest of us. And that's when some of the tobacco lawsuits started to happen. So then public opinion turned against those companies. And so, it's basically to bring them down to the level where we can say, look, you're partly responsible for this. You need to stand up and face that. So you'll start to see there are lawsuits pending against Exxon, and it's all very interesting. But divestment is one example of a changing cultural norm. It says the status quo is no longer okay. You can't continue to make money on something that's killing the future. It's not right. So a lot has happened actually since I gave that talk in September. For one, the Paris Climate Agreement was passed, and that says basically codifying yes, we really want to keep it below 2 degrees Celsius of warming. We're at about 1 degree Celsius now, so it's going to be a rough ride. We're going to make it. Reaching the Paris goals requires rapid decarbonization of the entire global economy. Some people think by 2050, and that's 34 years from now. And that seems really soon to me, but I also think about, 34 years ago, that was, the early 1980s. They didn't have cell phones, didn't have a personal computer, clean energy was a thing of the future, we didn't have cell phones, all these things have happened in that amount of time, and I'm encouraged by what could continue to happen in the future, but like I said, we need to give it a push. We need to push clean energy and vote and tell people, this needs to happen now. So, this is, what runs around in my head all the time. It's no pressure, but this is what we have to do. All of us, our generation. I don't like to get bogged down. I like to ask, what can I do? I was getting very angry that others hadn't done enough. How could the older generation not stop this? But then I realized I'm 29 and I haven't done anything either. And I'm an adult. I can't blame it on the adults. It's time for me to act. And despite the things that are at stake, I really, really like this quote by Barack Obama from September. There's some amazing, beautiful things in this world that aren't coming back. that should give us all pause, but I don't wallow in sadness because we've got too much work to do. The world is always changing, and there are going to be changes in our lifetime that I wish hadn't happened. There are also changes that have eradicated polio, and changes that have reduced infant mortality, and those we celebrate. So there are some things I've experienced and I've seen that I suspect my grandchildren won't, and that's a sad thing. But the world is full of wonders, and I figure that we still have time to save most of them, and our kids will probably discover some new ones. So I find myself referring to this quote quite a lot because it's easy to get tripped up in the sadness of things, to think about what we could lose, but also I think she's right. You know, there's too much work to do. You can't wallow in it. And so here I reached my third point about using video games to send a message, and now I'm not talking about developing individual games anymore. I'm talking about using games to reach an audience. So I like to think about systems. I gave a talk in Australia a couple years ago about how I managed to pay $200 cash for a CAT scan that I needed. I didn't have good insurance at the time, just like by thinking about, you know, who benefits from the system and how can I just get what I want without having to go through insurance, which is a nightmare. It's pre-Obamacare. So I like to think about systems. I like to think about, you know, that's the question to you, you know, where do you have influence? And who do you know? And who can you talk to? And I think you'll probably discover that you have more power than you think. So I thought to myself, who do I know? You know, a lot of game developers who've been in the industry for more than 10 years. Hey, games are very popular. I bet we can reach a lot of people. So I created something called Beat the Dev last November. And it's a Twitch stream, and if you don't know Twitch, it's basically like a video streaming service. You can broadcast yourself live onto the internet, and it doesn't cost anything. And what we did is basically set up a telethon where people can, you know, donate certain amounts, and then we celebrate those donations and try to raise more money. And it all was to benefit the Sierra Club, which is an organization that I really love, and I kept finding their name over and over when I was doing my research. The Sierra Club has shut down half of America's coal plants since 2009. You know, there was this whole thing happening that we didn't even see because we weren't looking for it. But this is, you know, coal is on its way out. Divestment ends up being a good business decision too, because like the red coal plants are the only ones that are active and upcoming. The green ones are all the ones that have been canceled. So that's very clearly to me the tax. So this is the amount of coal plants that they've managed to retire. Which I don't know, I found myself when I was really, really upset about this stuff, I just open up this page and like look at it. You know, it's like a progress bar in a game. Like, there's so much work we've already done. You just need to push it a little bit more. So I know a lot of game developers, and so I just started emailing people. I'm like, hey, do you want to be on the stream? It's called Beat the Dev. And the idea was a game streamer person would be playing against a game developer at their own game, trying to beat them. Hence Beat the Dev. So I managed to put together the schedule in about a month. I still don't know how I did it, but so I called up, you know, not everybody who was a developer was somebody I knew. Sometimes it was friends of friends and saying, hey, Aaron's doing this thing. It sounds kind of cool. Like, let's get involved. So this is, you know, you see 24 different games, and that's at least 48 people, right? Because it's a streamer and a developer. Some pretty big titles in there. I was quite proud of this. And here's what it looks like when it's broadcasting. So this is a guy named Ryan Weimeyer, a friend of mine from when I lived in Chicago. He made a game called Oregon Trail, which is like Oregon Trail but organs, because it's about the zombie apocalypse. It's a very good game. I think it's on mobile if you're interested. And he's playing against my friend Keisha, who runs a group called Sugar Gamers in Chicago, which is like an all-women gaming guild. And that was a really fun one because Ryan got into the spirit of it, and he would switch his hats when I wasn't looking. And he may notice I'm wearing a silly hat too, and that's because every time we reached a funding goal, I would put on a sillier hat, you know, to try to incentivize people to get more money. So I tried to put gameplay reward stuff into the stream as well. And every time I reached the funding goal, I'd pull up this silly like overlay that says nature, you know, and we'd play like an eagle sound on the